The real question is if I've ever met a Kristin Hannah book that I have not adored. The answer is still no. We are back for another Christian review of regular books, and today we are discussing The Women by Kristin Hannah. For those of you who haven't seen one of these videos before, here's how it's gonna go down. First, I do my regular review, what you know and love to expect from a book review, star rating, and my own personal opinion of this book. But then I get into my Christian review, and that's where I go over the basic pieces of a book that may or may not have a fellow believer or truly anyone wanting to read it. I give more caveats and any more information you may need about these reviews at the video that's pinned at the top of the playlist. Or you should be able to click here somewhere. For now, let's go ahead and get into my regular review. I have read a handful of books by Kristin Hannah, and every single one of them I love, but not all of them are equal to me. Some of them have a very specific way of being written in Kristin Hannah's style that feels like a trauma dump. And this book definitely felt like a trauma dump. It is a very heavy topic, and the situations you're dealing with and the emotions and all of the character dynamics that are happening in this book felt like nothing good could happen the whole time. Every time you thought, okay, here we go, here's some hope, here we're gonna get out of this deep, dark hole we are living in. You know what happened? The character went back through a deep, dark hole. And I loved what was discussed throughout this book. For those of you who don't know what this book is about, it's about the Vietnam War and about women in the Vietnam War and how they were treated post-war. It is so impressively well done, and I think does tell a very important story to the Vietnam War and women in the Vietnam War and just the atrocities all the way around. On top of that, if you do this on audio, it is narrated by the one and only Julia Whalen, who is my favorite narrator of all time, and she kills it in this book. She does such a good job of really speaking out the characters in a way that makes you just completely tap in to the entire story. She even does this one sound thing where they're like in a helicopter and it sounds like they're yelling over helicopters. What? It is so impressive. I just was so impressed. So this book was truly so beautiful, and despite the trauma that came along with it, and despite the dark kind of themes that exist throughout this book, the history, and of course Kristin Hannah's writing style, and the chef's kiss of Julia Whalen's narration, this book still got 4 stars. If you want to see everything that I'm reading and rating in real time, you can do so by following me on Goodreads. You can also see me on Instagram, TikTok, and I do have my own YouTube channel. If you want more of my life journey or day-to-day reading journey, you can find all the links down below in the description box. Now let's go ahead and get into my Christian review. The first category is smut or spice, and there are 1 or 2 scenes that tends to be kind of the norm for Kristin Hannah, but the scenes are very short and easy to skip through, and they don't really take away from the story if you do skip them. The second category is explicit language, and there really is not any in here. Now they are in a war zone, and so there's a few words here and there sprinkled, but it's not extensive. The third category is violence and gore, and as I've mentioned multiple times, we are talking about a war. So yes, there is violence, specifically gore, and it has to do around medical violence or gore, right? People coming into the nurse's station and having different things have happened to their body, and so then managing all of that. It is pretty gory in that regard, but nothing outside of the medical aspects. The last category are the trigger warnings that Kristin Hannah doesn't include, so that if you don't want to know about this part because it feels like a spoiler, you can skip past. However, there are some things within this book that I think should probably have been put as a trigger warning. Those would be PTSD, miscarriage or loss of a child in utero, and severe depression, anxiety, suicidal ideations, like mental health aspect things. The book still tells a beautiful story. I absolutely loved it, and there are so many characters that I did love throughout this story. I think this book is appropriate for anyone ages 16, 17, and up. It does deal with a lot of mature content, especially as I just discussed, but it's also a history piece that I think could be really useful to a teenager who is in history class learning about some of these things. Before you go, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can stay up to date on all of these Christian reviews of regular books, plus me and my mom's podcast, The Journey We Share. Just so you know, it not only helps you, but it also helps us know that the content we're providing is content you want to continue seeing. So please, before you go, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and maybe leave a comment, and I cannot wait until we see you on the next one.